Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outlier YouTube channel and your program, Get to Know. I'm here, DP Lyle. I'm here with my cohort in crime, Kathleen Antrim.
Thanks, Doug. It's great to be here. And we have a fabulous interview for you today. She comes from Central California. We're not going to say exactly where, but we're really excited to have her for this interview. We've got Lorie Ham. She's the author of over, I believe, 7 books now.
Yes. And for my
And
books, it's Lorie Lewis Ham.
Lorie Lewis Ham. Yes, yes, yes. So it's great to have you on Get to Know Lorie. And I want to just do a little delving into your childhood.
Oh my.
I was wondering if you feel your childhood contributed to you becoming an author. Were you an outgoing child? Did you read a lot? Were you a shy child? Did you have imaginary friends? Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, I was pretty shy for the most part, but I started singing with my family when I was 12, so I learned how to deal with the public, whether I wanted to or not. As far as becoming a writer, not really. My dad was not a reader at all. He was an accountant and he would read tax books. That was pretty much his reading. And my mom would read Harlequin romances, but it's like it really wasn't a big influence on me. I feel like I was just born. That's who I am. I've always loved books as long as I can remember. I spent my summer vacations reading at my grandma's, and my mom says I had an imaginary friend when I was really little, but I do not remember that.
Did you used to tell yourself stories? Like I used to tell myself stories at night to put myself to sleep. And if it was a really great story, it would go on for a number of nights in a row. If it wasn't that great of a story, it was a one night stand. That was it. Did you used to tell yourself stories?
I did actually. Nobody's ever asked me that before. I started writing stories about my stuffed animals before, as soon as I could put sentences together. But I did, yeah, and it usually had something to do with some sort of television show that I was watching at the time, and I'd kind of put myself into it. So yeah, I did.
Wow, so interesting. So let's talk about when you did start actually writing professionally and how that came about how old were you and how did you make that decision?
Again, I kind of feel like I always knew that I was going to write. I started entering like poetry contests and stuff pretty young, and my first poem was published when I was 13, and my first song was published when I was 13. And I just kept going. I would read every book on writing that I could get my hands on, and I took like some online courses, and had that big old writer's digest, that great big old, and I would just go through and, look for things that I could submit to. And it was mostly like short stories and poems at the time. And then as I got into my later teens, I also started writing some articles, and it just kept going from there. I didn't really start trying this. I say I didn't really. I started trying to write a book probably when I was like 15, 16.
So did you go to college and I mean, did you have another career before you said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go ahead and try to actually make this a career.
Because of my singing, I didn't get the opportunity to go to college. I did take an online journalism course, and it was kind of just always something I knew I wanted to do. And I did take a creative writing course when I was in my early 20s. And I would say that Sisters in Crime had a huge influence on my writing mysteries. I always loved mysteries, but I joined, I'm in the Fresno area, and that chapter started probably in my early 20s. And they were a big influence on me as far as writing mysteries go.
That's fantastic. It's a great organization, Sisters in Crime, and it's really nice to hear that they helped encourage
Oh,
you.
yeah. Did you
Yeah.
find that your songwriting and your poetry, when you got ready to sit down and start writing prose, that it kind of fed that? And I've always said that fiction writers should read poetry. And I have several poetry books on my Kindle, and I'll go there and I'll spend an hour reading three or four or five, six poems. The language is different, obviously. And I'm not sure I understand most poetry, but I do like phrases and I do like the way they play with words. Did you find that helped you create prose?
I think it probably helped me in the beginning, shape me and help me learn about writing. I think it did. Like I said, the first thing I ever published was a poem. I loved writing poems in school. I tend to go for the more old-fashioned, rhyming kind of poem, just like, writing the songs kind of tied together. So it was mostly that kind of thing, So I had my angsty season of life, like most people do. But yeah, I do feel like it definitely helped me in the learning process of how to write.
Now you have
So
a
what,
series you call the Tower District Mysteries. How many books are in that and how did that come about?
Well, there are only two in that one. The
Okay.
latest one of you came out this summer. And I had written another series featuring a gospel singer, which, that's what I used to do. And then I took a long break because I started an online magazine. I had kids and all that. And I was still involved in the mystery community, but I wasn't writing mysteries. And I started really getting the itch a few years ago to start writing mysteries again. But I wanted to do something different. And the Tower District is a real place. It's basically the arts district in Fresno, and it's its own unique community. And I had already spent a lot of time there. I have friends there. The magazine covers the arts, so I spent a lot of time down there covering different events and theater. And I thought, this would be a really interesting place to set a mystery series. And that's what I did. And it just kind of flowed from there.
And the first one you wrote in that series was,
One of us.
yeah, that's what I thought. And then the one of you was the second, which I think is pretty cool.
I
And
love
I
that
already knew
cover.
the title for the third one, one of them.
All right, cool.
Tell
I
us about
like
your
it.
process. Like, do you outline? Are you a pantser? We're always
I'm a
curious about
pantser,
that.
100% a pantser. If I would try to, do a regular outline of the book, I'd be done. It's just I
Yeah.
like to just sit down and write. I take lots of notes, character notes, and do a lot of research as somebody here knows very well because I send him questions all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
so
And
kudos
they're
to
very good questions, I
myself.
think.
Thank you. Um, so I really am a pantser. Like I said, a lot of notes. I have a calendar of the days that will be the story will be, and I will write things down as I go to help me keep track. And when I get to the end of the draft, I actually do then go through and kind of write an outline of what I've done so then I can start seeing what I need to fix. I do a lot of editing after that, but yeah, I'm definitely a pantser.
Very fun. I know Doug's also a pantser. I'm an
Yep.
outliner, but I also feel like I have that pantsing up, portion of me when I'm creating that outline, which tends to be a first draft. So tell us what you're working on now.
Well, this month I've been attempting to start writing one of them. It's been kind of a crazy month with, yeah, I have a new grandson who's having a birthday and then some other family stuff going on. My brother's visiting from the UK, so it hasn't gone as well as I would have liked, but I know the setting already. It's taking place during what's called a Fringe Festival that does actually happen every spring in the Tower District. And I've kind of had this one on my radar for a while. So I have a lot of ideas about it. And I've written the first 2.5 chapters.
Good. That's the start. That's what
Yeah,
it takes. Yeah, you're off and running.
Absolutely.
Now, you're let's talk about Kings River Life, which I love. I've been following it for years and contribute stuff to it. And I love that you guys review books and do the book giveaways and all that. You're really supportive of writers. I mean, it's really and writers and all over. How did that start? And tell us about what it is and how it works.
okay. Well, it's been going for about a little over 14 years now. And what happened is I was writing for my local newspaper. And just before Christmas, I was let go because get this, I did too much research. So They wanted me to, they didn't really care about that. They just wanted lots and lots and lots of words. So while I was figuring out what to do next, a friend of mine who is was a web designer at the time, we started talking, wouldn't it be fun just to put something together online that made up of all the things my editor had told me that nobody wanted to read about, basically. So we started out, it was kind of more for fun. We didn't really, know it was going to grow like it did. And it was just locally focused at the very beginning, but it didn't take long for the mystery community that I already knew to start asking is, hey, do you guys review mysteries? And it just boomed from there in that area. So now it's half of it is local and it's animal rescue, the arts, food, and things like that on the local side. And then half of it is mystery and it goes up every Saturday morning. We also have some midweek features as well. And that's what it is, kingsriverlife.com. And as you said, we do giveaways. We have short stories once in a while, lots of book reviews, author interviews.
How many followers do you have now? Because I've seen in the times that I've followed, this is probably what, 10 years now. It's really grown.
We average around 10,000 readers a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
it is.
Well, I mean, you are obviously very, very busy with all of that. I mean, especially when you've got deadlines every week. I used to write for Metro papers, and geez, you do keep yourself going. I think the 2.5 chapters you're already into on your book is commendable based on the schedule you've got going on. So tell us, if we were to open, go in, and it's kingsriverlife.com, correct?
And it's free.
And so what would be some of the features this week?
What we're coming up, we usually have 1 to 2 animal rescue columns. They're local animal rescues for the most part. We actually have, I used to do pet rat rescue. And one of the rescues that I worked with in the Bay Area, they've got a monthly column. My main character actually has a pet rat. So kind of incorporated that in there. We have a theater review that will hopefully be going up tonight, fingers crossed. Our monthly food column is going up a week early because we're going to have a very light issue the week of Thanksgiving. Let's see what else is up there this week. It's a little bit of a short issue. We have several book reviews, as I said. Do we have an interview this week? I think we have an interview this week. I can't hear you, Kathleen.
You got muted somehow.
Oh, there I am. Okay. So tell us where people can find your books and buy them, where our listeners can hunt you down.
Well, my personal website as an author is mysteryrat.com. So you can find all about my books there. As you said, they're set in the Tower District. My main character is entertainment podcaster and part-time PI. She lives with her cousin who is a local PI, and there's always lots of arts involved and theater and just some quirky, interesting characters. And they're on Amazon, they're on barnesandnoble.com, Kobo, and then some local bookstores here as well.
Fantastic. And do you have any events coming up at this point? Any signings we should tell people about?
Well, this is actually winding down. This is kind of the tail end of things for this book tour. I'm going to be part of a holiday cozy mystery event on the Cozy Mystery Party Facebook page, group that is happening the first 2 weekends in December, and I will be there for a slot on the 14th. And then that's pretty much it for me this year. I do have a few book signings coming up next year here and there, but.
Well, we will definitely have to have you back on to talk about all that. You're a great interview. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Lorie Lewis-Ham, and I can't wait to read your mysteries. I mean, that's right up my alley. I also want to ask our listeners to click the thumbs up if they've enjoyed this interview and to subscribe so that I don't miss any fun interviews coming up in the future. And I'll throw it back to you, Doug.
Yeah, Lorie, thank you. This has been fun and good chatting with you. And I mean, sincerely mean, I love what you do for writers. I love that Kings River life has expanded to the point that it is. And again, it has that local touch, but it's really international. So
Yeah,
people need to check it out and follow it because you got some good stuff there. And we really appreciate you coming on here. And now you got to finish the next book.
Yes, I do.
You have work to do.
Yes, I do.
right, because we've got to have you back. Thanks again.
Thank
Well,
you.
that wraps up this edition of Get to Know here on the Outliers YouTube channel. We thank you for watching, and as you know, we will be back with other interviews and fun stuff. So until then, keep writing, keep reading, and keep having fun, and we'll check you out then. Bye bye.